व्यवसाय ध्रुव परम स्पष्ट सीताराम धर्म विदुत्तम अयोध्या वैकुंठ पुरुषा श्री रघुराम वैकुंठ पुरुषा श्री रघुराम श्री रघुराम सच्चिदानंद रूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदांत वेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धि साक्षिणे गुरवे बुद्धि साक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वलोकहितैषिणं वेदाब्जभास्करं वन्दे क्षमादिनिलयं मुनिम् Balance of the mind and steadiness of the intellect are important factors that are necessary in order to attain spiritual upliftment and in addition to this also attain the highest state of evolution. Single-pointedness of the mind is a very important ingredient of this spiritual practice. The mind has to be continuously internalized, taking it away from its involvement with the world of senses. In other words, this world of senses is also called as anatma or the not self, and it has to be taken away from the not self to such an extent that it gets into involvement with that which is the true self and finally becomes one with it. This process of withdrawing the mind from the senses or anatma and making it becoming one with the atma is the important function of yoga. That's what yoga is. And to have a mind which is not fluctuating, which is not oscillating, which is not vacillating, is possible through a firm resolution at the intellectual level. So that resolution also is important. A resolve, strongly resolve that we keep our focus steady on our spiritual pursuit. That type of non-oscillating mind is very important thing. That is possible if if the intellect is steady and firm and deeply rooted in the spiritual values, then a steady direction from the intellect will also make the mind follow the resolution that is there in the intellect, and also it becomes a single pointed in its pursuit. Single pointed meaning focused only on the inner self, focused only on the true self, not focused on the false self. All this is possible when the mind and intellect are sufficiently trained through the spiritual practice. It is said by Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Gita that those people who are reveling in the sensuality, bhogaisvarya prasaktanam, taya apakrita chetasam, vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhavana vidiyate. Those people who are constantly getting identified with the anatma and getting into the world of senses and sensuality and involving in those things and constantly performing actions for the sake of gaining the sensual pleasures, such a person or such people disturb their internal poise, their internal steadiness, and such people cannot have a steady intellect or consistent pursuit of yoga. They cannot consistently pursue the yoga, nor they can have the steadiness in the intellect or balance in the mind. Such people will not be able to achieve any great progress or any advancement in the spiritual path. So what we need is determination, firm resolution. Then things will happen. That is what we have seen yesterday as a meaning to the word Vyavasaya. Vyavasayo Vyavasthanaha, Vyavasayo Vyavasthanaha, Samsthana Sthanado Dhruvaha, Samsthana Sthanado Dhruvaha, Paradhit Paramaspashtaha, Paradhit Paramaspashtaha, Tushtav Pushtav Subhekshanaha, Tushtav Pushtav Subhekshanaha. Determination, firm resolution are all ingredients of pure wisdom. If we gain that pure wisdom, then naturally our mind and intellect will be determined and there will be firm resolution in them to pursue the yoga and finally to attain the spiritual upliftment. Then, Vyavasthana. Vyavasthana means the basis. Asmin vyavasthitihi sarvasyeti vyavasthana. The basis of everything. Whatever is there here, whatever is brought forth into this creation, whatever is being seen by us in the world around us, this is the basis of everything. Not only that, this is the basis. Bhagavan himself is the regulator of the guardians of the universe and their respective functions. When anything is brought forth into existence, there are certain guardians who are appointed to take care of all the things, to see to it that everything is kept safe and then in proper order. So they are the guardians, and these guardians have certain functions in order to take care of the universe, in order to take care of the creation. So, who regulates them? There is someone who regulates them, and it is Bhagavan himself. That is why it is called as Vyavasthana, the basis. And it is also said various kinds of beings which are Jadavija, womb-born, Andaja, yet-born, Svedaja, sweat-born, Udbija, earth-born. All these different kinds of beings also are properly taken care, and they are also made to follow certain path in their life, in their respective ways, only by Bhagavan himself. And also, it is also said here, the Chaturvarnas also are properly taken care so that all types of people are available for strengthening the society and they are equally given due respect and importance to discharge their duties, so that when each of these varnas discharge their duties perfectly, it becomes a solid and firm society. And such a society also is taken care or is a gift of Bhagavan himself. And it is also said Bhagavan also regulates the individual's life in various stages. Brahmacharya ashrama, Grihastha ashrama, Vanaprastha ashrama, Sannyasa ashrama. He only regulates. He only has given all guidelines in the Shastras. Shastras are nothing but his mouthpieces, spokesperson like Shastra means. So whatever he wanted to say, he said it to Shastra. So how a Brahmacharya should behave, conduct himself, how a Grihastha should conduct, how a Vanaprasthi, how a Sannyasi, all that is very clearly indicated. So Bhagavan only is regulating that also, meaning Bhagavan is regulating our whole life and the life of everything, and every living being is being taken care by Bhagavan only, and properly it is made to function by Bhagavan only. Next, Samsthana, the ultimate abode. All these gross looking fivefold elements, Panchibhuta, Panchabhutas which are there, earth, water, fire, air, ether, all of them at the time of Pralaya are slowly withdrawn into their subtle levels and from there back into the unmanifest levels also by Bhagavan himself. So for all this which has manifested, which has flowered, which has appeared in this form, everything goes back to him. That is why he alone is the final abode, not only of the beings, but of the mighty forces in nature. Everything that is created, including the solar systems and galaxies, the universe as a whole, everything goes back to him. So he is the final abode, he is the Samsthanam. He who is the supreme goal of all. That is why also he is the Samsthanam. Next one. Sthanadaha, the conferrer of status. Everybody is after status. Who gives that status? Initially one needs to have status to exist first of all. Then comes existing nicely in a good manner, happy manner, peaceful manner, respectful manner. All that comes later on adding to the existing thing. First thing is existence. So it is said, Dhruvadina Karmanurupam Sthanam Dadati iti Sthanadaha. The conferrer of status on Dhruva. Dhruva also is given a great status. When people look into the sky, the pole star, the Dhruva is firm. Everything else changes, but that will not change. That will always remain steady. With reference to that, people say other things are changing also. So, the conferrer of status on Dhruva and others. How is it according to his whim and fancy? No, according to their karmas. According to the individual's karmas, he gives the status. One who gives, Dada means one who gives the appropriate abode. Abode means sthana. Dada sthana. One who gives the appropriate abode to each individual means jiva is called sthanadaha. Sthanadaha. So that's what is the person. How? According to individual's karmas. So, if we are having a strong feeling that we need to have a great status in society, Bhagavan says, simple thing, do good karmas. I will take care that you will get status. You should not keep status in the mind. You should keep goodness in the mind and perform good actions according to the scriptural guidance. Once you perform, you will get the status. I will make that people who are connected with allotting you that status recognize you and everything else will be taken care. Definitely it will be taken care because a person's mind and intellect only recognizes. Who can make that mind and intellect recognize? Normally in the world they follow some false practices like some applying butter and giving some extra favors to make themselves recognized. also give something and they also get something. Give and take. But finally, it is actually whether you give bribe and whether you make recommendation or whatever it is, whether you try to force people or threaten people and then get status to yourself, all this is making a change in the mind, in the form of a thought which analyzes or which approves. That can be done through external sources by false practices. That can be done through honest methods by sincere good actions. These are recognized by God. God will make that fellow recognize. All that it needs for God is make this fellow entertain that thought and then follow the thought. That's all it is required. God can make anybody entertain any thought and follow that thought consistently. It is God's will. It is in God's hands. God can make it happen. It is not individuals that make it happen. It is God that can make it happen. The status given by God will remain forever. The status attributed to us by individuals will fall because their mind also will fall away from attributing status to us. Our mind also may fall away. So that will fall. That status will not remain forever. But the status that is given to us by Bhagavan because of our good karmas, that will remain forever. Yatha karma, yatha sukam. Kathopanishad also, that is what is said. So, whatever is being heard by us through the scriptures, and these scriptures only, which are actually that Brahman himself in the form of Shabda, sound, which became word and which is coming to our ears, and that alone becomes the Dharma also. That way also we can interpret this. Karma phala pradata Ishvaro Narayana. That's what is said in the scripture also, that the one who gives us the fruit of our actions is only Narayana. Narayana only can give us the status. If we depend on Narayana, status will be certain in our life. Next one, Dhruvaha. The firm. Dhruvaha means the firm. Dhruvaha also means the imperishable. It is not perishable. The whole world changes. Dhruvadara doesn't change. And not only that, Dhruva also means it is not going to be influenced by change. Avinashitva Dhruvaha. Why we are calling it as firm? Sri Adi Shankaracharya says, the firm because it is imperishable. Because it is imperishable, we are calling it as Dhruvaha. The stable, the firm, that which remains changeless in the midst of changes. It is not easy to remain stable. It is not easy to remain firm. It is not easy to remain changeless in the midst of changes. Because always we are influenced by changes. Our firmness is put to test, our steadiness is put to test, and we cannot remain changeless. We are influenced by the changes. But if we hold on to Bhagavan, definitely He will make all of us remain very steady in our pursuit and also steady in our status. Paradhihi, the supreme manifestation. Paradhihi, vibhutihi, asyati paradhihi. The one who has the supreme manifestation, one who is of the supreme manifestation. It is also said that glory of Bhagavan is expressed where in his manifestation only. Whenever he becomes an avatar, he does glorious deeds. He uplifts people, he puts down all other people, and he manifests his rupas, Vishwarupa, and so many things. So all glorious things manifest only when Bhagavan takes avatar. So that is why he is called as supreme manifestation. And all the things that manifest to the avatar are divine only. There is nothing that is undivine. When an avatar manifests, everything that is divine only manifests. Anything that avatar does is only divine. There is nothing which is undivine. So, he is of supreme manifestation. Then, Paramaspashtaha. Spashtaha meaning evident. Paramaspashtaha, completely evident. Totally evident. Very clear. Totally understandable, like that, completely evident. And it is said here, because he is dependent on no one for perfection. He is not dependent upon anybody. You and I depend upon so many things for attaining perfection. He is perfect, so he does not depend. And because he is perfect completely, by himself he is perfect, naturally it is evident to everybody. It becomes evident. We also become evident to others as far as we live our life, we conduct ourselves, all those things are evident to others. Some see them as they are and some see them according to their production, whatever it is, but things become evident because he is the purest. So everything is evident. And it is also said, being pure consciousness, the illumining principle, naturally the illumining principle becomes evident. Whatever is luminous becomes evident because it is self-luminous, it is shining by itself and it is the pure consciousness and it automatically becomes evident. Do we need any torchlight to find out the sun? We don't need it because it is evident. It makes itself evident. Like that, it is self-luminous principle, pure consciousness, it becomes evident. And it is also said, it is evident on account of showing His grace to all. He showers His grace upon all of us. And that also makes it evident. Very lovingly, very compassionately, He showers His grace. So we come to know in our life, when we entertain certain devotional feelings towards Him, that He is very graceful and He becomes evident as a giver of grace, as a showerer of grace. So that's why everybody prays to God also. Oh God, please have your grace upon me and bless me. Why? Because everybody knows He will grace us and bless us. And it is also said, he who is extremely clear, Swami Chinmayananda says this, he who is extremely clear to those who have conquered agitations. Those who have conquered agitations, he becomes very clear. And all disturbing thought currents of the mind also are conquered. All disturbing thought currents of the mind, they are conquered. Agitations are conquered. And how they are conquered? Swamiji says, by successful pursuit of practice of meditation. Meditation on Vishnu, meditation on Narayana, meditation on Damodar. So meditation on Bhagavan, if we constantly do meditation on Bhagavan, the disturbing thought currents are conquered, are overcome, and also agitations are also overcome. Agitations and disturbances are overcome, then what is there? Mind becomes steady. And for such a mind, Paramatma becomes very clearly evident. If Paramatma is not evident, it is only to understand that our mind is still filled with agitations and disturbances. So we have to clear that. Not because Bhagavan has not got the capacity to appear, we are not able to see Him. Only because we are not able to see what is appearing. So our mind has to be cleared. Got rid of agitations and disturbances, then Bhagavan becomes clear. Then Darshana of Bhagavan happens. Darshana of Bhagavan is not happening now, not because Bhagavan is not capable of giving darshan. He is capable of giving darshan, but we are not capable of receiving that darshan because of agitations and disturbances in mind due to various reasons. So that is what is Paramaspashtaha, completely evident. Then Dushtaha, the contented, completely contented. How he is said as contented? Paramananda Rupatvat Tushta. He is of the form of supreme bliss. Paramananda Rupa. Paramananda Rupa doesn't want anything else. We are Avidya, Ajnana, Moha Rupa. We are of the form of ignorance. And because of the ignorance, we are getting the infatuation and delusion. In illusion. Because of that, we need so many things in the world to gain pleasure, to gain happiness, to gain joy. Why does he need all those things? His nature is Paramananda. We really know our true nature also is Paramananda, but now he is Paramadukka, whatever it is, or at least intermittently Dukkha. So, his nature is Paramananda, so he is Tushta, contented. And it is also said, Sri Sri Adi Shankaracharya says here, the one who is happy at the minimum offering of a devotee, that is a sign of a contented person. A person of contentment actually doesn't want anything from us. The moment somebody is wanting anything from us means he is not contented. There is nothing wrong in not being contented, but it is evident that he is not contented. Whatever it is, the person is not happy, meaning what? Not contented. Reasons can be many. And how to gain contentment? Not by depending on others. Never a Shastra said by depending on others you can gain contentment, true contentment. Temporary contentment, yes. Somebody is mine, somebody respected, somebody praised, I can be contented. That is all false. It will go away after some time. By looking at same person, I get disturbed after some time. Well, there is so many things changing. So that is why here the real contentment happens because of knowing one's own Swarupa. And here, what is said? Bhagavan, little things you give. He is contented because anyway he is contented. And he is more contented because you have taken time, you and I have taken time and looking at him and then thinking of him and then chanting his name and then asking him to give something. Anyway he will only give, but if we ask him, he will be more happy. Anyway parents only give, and if the child goes and asks very respectfully, very lovingly, more joy from parents. That is why anyway they are not giving, anyway they are not taking care. They ask also, they will only take care. If the children doesn't ask also, they will only take care. But if they ask and nicely say something, they will feel more happy. Anyway they are contented. They are contented by the very fact that they have children. That is how they suffer. Otherwise, after birth of the child, what is there big thing in the child to look at and suffer? Nothing. The very fact that they are contented with the birth of the child only makes them suffer. That is all. So the very fact that Bhagavan has created us only makes him suffer. What else he requires? Do we need to do something in order to make Bhagavan suffer? Bhagavan has decided to suffer. What can we do? Like that, when somebody decides to suffer, you cannot stop him. That's what happens. When somebody decides to scold on me, we can't stop. When somebody decides, one Acharya went to Guruji, Tejavani, and said, Swamiji, this person is blaming me like anything. I never did anything. I did not do anything like that. Blaming telling everybody wrong things and all. Swamiji said, what can you do? Can you stop? Will you go to each person and then say, don't listen, don't listen, don't listen? And Swamiji said, there were people who were blaming me also. I didn't say anything. You also don't say. If I believe that, you have to worry. I am not believing. I know that it is not true. Why should you worry? Don't worry. They will only keep quiet. And when you continue to do your work, Gurudev said things like this. When you continue to perform your spiritual practice and continue to offer your services, that will shine in the good hearts and they will recognize and that will be fulfilling to you finally. So, we can't stop only. If anybody says something, what can we do? It is their karma they are creating. And one thing is very good, that we should be very happy that somebody is putting forth strenuous efforts to reduce our prarabdha karma. Because if somebody constantly bombarding us, otherwise we would have taken a tough time for us to clear this karma. Easy thing, God has arranged that person to scold, blame, and take out karma. What can we do? Very nice thing. If we understand this, we will be very happy. In fact, we can thank such people. Thank you. Without you, I could not have liked and unburdened my karma. But all God's arrangement. So, the thing here is, a person who is of contentment will always be contented. Whatever other person gives, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is. But God, he will be more contented. That is an expression that is given only to inspire the devotee. Because God doesn't want anything. What he doesn't have and what he can give. Except our ignorance. That's all. So, he is happy. That is why he is Tushtaha. And we also should follow that. Towards our family members, towards our other relatives and friends and associates, we should also be like Tushtaha. And we should be more happy in doing some more service to them. If that way people come together in any group or any family, that family will flourish like anything, that nation also will. That is a nice quality. which has to be imbibed by all of us. If we are contented with what we have, finally, contentment means what? We get something, meaning we will have something. When we have something, so what we say, I have this, so I am satisfied. Eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. Wow, I ate, I have so much in my stomach, I am satisfied. Meaning what? What we ate, whether we ate food or we ate other brains and all that is immaterial. We are satisfied. Meaning what? I have it, so I am satisfied. Finally, that is what it is. To get satisfied with what we have. What we have, we recognize that we have, and the result is satisfaction. Whatever we have, we recognize that we have. That is what is satisfaction. Whether we gain this momentum and last minute, next minute, and then we feel contented, that is immaterial. Finally, the baseline. What you have to see as a baseline is what we did to get what and acquire what, 1,000 things in the world, that is all the material. Finally, they all will be reduced to one category. I have it, I have them. So I am contented. Finally, this is the statement. I am contented because I have them. You can change it the other way. Be contented with what you have. Simple. Anyway, you will be contented with only what you have. What you get has to fall into the category of what you have. Otherwise, what you get, if it has not fallen into the category of what I have, that means it has slipped out of my hand. A person contested and then he won, but he died. What is the point? There is no point. A person wrote the exam and the result happened, but he did not see the result. Somebody told him he got, he did not pass and he is suffering. Meaning what? He did not get to the stage. So finally what? Please understand this baseline. This baseline is very important. Even after we conquer the whole world also, even if we make everybody as our subordinate also, finally one thought only will be there in mind. I have whole world under my control. I have it. I am having it, so I am contented. Why struggle whole life to make the world our subordinate and finally get it reduced to one thought? What did all conquerors did? Finally reduced to one thought only. I have it. So I am contented. Gurudev says, why to go to roundabout method? Simple method. Look at what you have and then feel you are contented with what I have. Finished. That is all it is. Why run after everything and then say you are contented? I'm not contented. Anyway, you want to say the same thing. Suppose you don't have that spirit of recognizing what you have and feeling satisfied with what you have. Even after winning this world, we go to win another world, then another world. This will never end. Then next world, this will go on. Never we can feel contented. So the idea is, whatever we have, know that this is what we have. We are contented. Finally, it is the interpretation in the mind. That is all. I have enough contented. That's all. When I have so much of food. Enough. Oh, full contented. Meaning what? I have enough. Instead of struggling and then saying the same statements inside the mind, say it in the beginning of I have content. What do you have? Whatever I have. Oh, you don't have that? I did not have that. Because one who has that also finally has it only and then feels contented with what he has. I am contented with what I have. You are contented with what you have. What you have, what I have will be different. Finally, you are contented with what you have. I am contented with what I have. What does it matter what you have? What does it matter what I have? Only when I compare, oh, you have that, I have this, I don't have that, you don't have this, then comparison and discontentment and dissatisfaction and then competition and unhealthy competition and jealousy, then hatred and fight and conflict, all these things. What should we bother? We did not bother. The fellow who is having a poster, the fellow who doesn't have a poster, oh, you have a poster, I don't have a poster, then suffer. Okay, I have something else, whatever I have, is there anybody who doesn't have anything? Everybody will have something. At least we have ignorance, no? I have it. Do you have the ignorance that I have? No. So I am happy with what I have. God has given us so many things. Whatever I have. What does it matter? Body is there. If nothing is there, body is there. Body is there means singular is there. Body is there means singular is there or not? Body is there, yes. And the one who is enabling the body is there or not? Yes. What more we want? bag in our control. They know he should be in our basket, so that we control. Arey, why basket? He is inside in the casket. Why basket? He is inside. Then what is the point? He is inside. Carrying him, what more we want? The boss of the whole universe is inside. What more we want? So we should be contented with what we have. All that we have to do is know what we have. That gives contentment. Please underline this. Know what we have. That gives contentment. We don't know what we have. That is why we are not contented. Know what we have. Ultimately, if we extend it to the ultimate state, knowledge gives contentment. Because finally, the knowledge of true nature is Paramatma and my inner nature, his nature is one. That knowledge gives contentment. Paramas Pushta. Contented. We can also gain contentment by knowing what we have. We are not contented because we do not know what we have. We know what we do not have. That is why we are suffering. Why sadness? I know God that I don't have that. And the other fellow has. The other fellow has, I am not having. So sadness. Enough. So enough of these things. Enough of this case. Just know what we have. Right now we can get contented. Because we have the contented Paramatma inside us. In spite of having contented Paramatma inside us, we are discontented, means we are improvised than Paramatma. We are far more advanced than Paramatma. He is contented inside us. Outer self is contented in spite of inner presence. Bhagavan will think, what is this fellow? I am here and still he is not contented. What more he can give? He gave himself to us. What more? So, recognize what we have. Whatever we have, that is enough to get contented. So, Pushtaha. Then, Pushtaha, the plenary, being a plenum, meaning he is full. Sarva Sampurnatvat Pushtaha. Sarva Sampurnatvat Pushtaha. He is full on account of his qualities. He is all full. He is total fullness. There is no emptiness. There is nothing that is lacking in him. What is happening to us? We have emptiness. Not that fullness emptiness. This is emptiness. So we have emptiness. So what we want to do? We want to fill this emptiness with so many things, including others' attention, others' appreciation, others' recognition, others' praises, others' gifts, all that, others' favors. So we feel that when all these are thrown into us, we will feel complete. We will never feel complete because inside us, the whatever container we have, the container has no base. Whatever we throw, it will go out. So what is the point? If somebody goes with a begging bowl which has no base, can it ever become full? It will never become full. Our mind and intellect are also like that. They are not connected with the base. So they are baseless. Connect base means self. They are not connected with the self. So baseless pot, baseless vessel. Whatever you put, it will go inside. It will look as if it is receiving it. Nothing will stay. So never contentment. So never fullness. So it is all hollowness. Whereas actually our self is all holiness. So he is all fullness. And it is said he is so infinitely full that we cannot take anything out of it, nor we can put anything in it. Even if we put anything in it, still it is full. Even if we take out anything, it still is full. Because it is infinite. Infinite plus infinite is infinite. Infinite minus something also is infinite. That's all it is. It is always infinite. So he is all full. And such an all full Bhagavan is there with us. So what else he can do? He will make us full only. All that we have to do is just we have to recognize him. We have to tune our mind to him. All powerfulness. He is a sign of total pure consciousness. It is all full in itself, ever full of itself, in itself, by itself. Our mind is not like that. It always wants contributions from others. Always it expects others to contribute something to make it full, to make it feel full. It will never. Instead of feeling full, it will become full. That's what it is. Next one. Sudekshana. Of auspicious male or all auspicious gaze. Ikshanam darshanam yasya shubham shubhakaram naranam. Sudekshana. Ikshanam darshanam yasya shubham shubhakaram. His gaze is so auspicious, so graceful. Just that gaze is enough. He is of gaze which is full of auspiciousness. When it looks at us, the look itself will bestow auspiciousness upon us. And it is interpreted here very nicely. He gives salvation to the spiritually minded. To the spiritually minded, he gives moksha, salvation. To the worldly minded, who desire worldly enjoyments, he gives worldly enjoyments. Then he makes sinners holy, hallows sinners, meaning makes sinners holy. Next, he removes all doubts. That's why he is Sudekshana. If he glances at us, doubts are gone. That is why Adi Shankara also says, Mamuddharatmiya Kataksha Drishtya. Just because of your compassionate gaze, may I attain spiritual advancement. Progress, only gaze, look, that is all it is. And it cuts all knots of the heart. All important things. His gaze has that capacity. Auspicious gaze. All knots in the heart are cut asunder. Hrudaya granthis are all cut asunder. And pearls of all karmas. Kshiyante chasya karma. All karmas are going up. And roots of nescience, meaning ignorance. What more we want is ikshana, is subha ikshana because of this. And there are some people. And the grandmothers always very frightened when their grandchildren get a ikshana of such people. Because whenever they cast their glance, their small kids and grandchildren get some inconvenience in their because it is not subha ikshana. Asubha ikshana, Asuya ikshana, Dinesha ikshana. There are some people like that. They may not put their mind in the face like that, but inside it is like that. So, inauspicious gaze. What happens? They will eat, whiskey, they will have Bhagavan, one gaze. What all things? Removes ignorance, burns up karmas, cuts away the knots, removes doubts, makes sinners holy, and gives worldly enjoyments, and gives moksha. Or to bacha his gaze is there. Looks are so powerful and so auspicious. Even in love also, the lover and beloved feel uplifted, feel inspired, feel stirred inside the heart only through looks. I am talking about old time love. Now they have more time to look. Looks. Look itself will give that stirring in the heart. Same thing with God also. And that looks itself will start to do it. That is why all that you have to do is when you go to Bhagavan, look at his feet, and from his feet start looking upwards. And then look at his eyes. And then see what he communicates. Then again come down to the feet and come out. Have you noticed this in puja? It starts with Padhyam, then Hastaha Argyam, then Mukhe Achaniyam, then Snanam. And then finally, when we offer Naivedya, then again offering Achaniyam, then Hastaha Argyam, then Padaprashanam, and again come down. That is the procedure. That means from feet you have to go up and don't sit on the shoulders or on his neck. Many people also like that only. What happens if we go touch the feet and pull the feet away? That is what we do. But it is not with Bhagavan. Go up and come back to feet only. Meaning what? Your status is at his feet. That is all. Not on his head, shoulders, and pulling his head. Nothing. Only at the feet. Start with the feet, conclude with the feet. That's it. Then we will be proper. That is why we have to gaze. We have to look at his feet, go up and come down and again feet. That is all. Not go up and stay there only. What happens generally with people? Their head is strong, obviously. Like that. Meaning what? They are too much. That is why when we come to Bhagavan, even for taking tirtha also we bend, even for receiving the Prokshana also we bend, meaning what? Learning to bend. And finally in front of Bhagavan, flat out, prostration, bend. That's all it is. So, that is why start with the feet, come to the feet. And he will, what happens? He will look at us nicely. And that is why we Vikshana we will do. We move on to the next sloka. Ramo Viramo Virato Margo Neyo Nayo Nayaha Viras Shaktimatam Sreshto Dharmo Dharma Viduttama Nityananda Lakshano Asmin Yogino Ramanta iti Rama. Nityananda Lakshano Asmin. That Ananda is eternal, changeless, permanent Ananda. And yogis revel in that Ananda. That Ananda in which yogis revel, Yogino Ramanta iti Rama. He is Rama because in him who is ever blissful, the yogis delight. He will make all spiritual seekers enjoy his nature, which is ever blissful. He gives himself, he gives his bliss. That is all he gives. We give our love and we have love. So that is why he has bliss, blissful love, he gives that bliss. And it is said in Padma Purana, Ramante yogino nande nityanande chidatmani iti ramapade naitat param brahma vidhiyate. The name Rama stands for the Supreme Brahma. Iti Rama Padenaitat Param Brahma Abhidhyate. The name Rama, what it stands for? It stands for Parabrahma. Padma Purana. It stands for Parabrahma. Rama means Parabrahma. That's all. Nothing short. Rama is not incarnation only. Rama is Parabrahma. And being eternal bliss and absolute consciousness, in which yogis have two things: being eternal bliss and absolute consciousness. Two beautiful things. Eternal bliss, not changing, permanent bliss and absolute consciousness. Yogis have because they see youngest, they see eternal. When they revel in human, they don't want anything. That is why when people have glorified Rama, that is why Rama Nama is a Taraka mantra. Just Rama, that's all. Rama, 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 Rama is the Tarak mantra. Why? Because it is nothing but Brahman. It is that complete eternal bliss and absolute consciousness. Both combined is Rama, 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 Rama. That's all it is. That is enough. Because we hear it again and again, we take it lightly. Rama, if somebody is like, Om, Cham, Tim, then you think it is something very great. There are some people like that who frighten people who are listening and then they think they are great devotees. That only meaning it is something very important mantra. If it is confusing, if it is not understandable, and if they say, don't tell it to us, and they take our ear mantra entered. I am feeling the mantra. What is bad with it? That is why Gurudev used to say, I am not interested in blowing into your ears. Blowing air. I am not saying that is wrong, but he was only saying pseudo imparting of all kinds of mantras. Beautiful mantras. Rama is Parabrahma. Why can't you take Rama? Why can't you take Shiva? Why can't you take Krishna, Vishnu? What do you want? Thom, dum, you want that? What do you want? Simple names, very clearly that it is Parabrahma, Parabrahma, not simple name. Eternal bliss. Hold on to that name, bliss will start falling into us. Hold on to that name, consciousness levels keep rising, 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 till we reach absolute, it will take us. Then once we are in that, then it becomes merged into us. That's all. That capacity Rama has. What else we need? Nothing else we need. And people don't know that, and that Rama has taken birth, and our situation is we are not even able to really take care of the place where he is born. And doesn't matter, no. Doesn't matter. Being a Sanatana Dharma person, why should I bother? Let him not have a place. If I have a house, it is enough. And somebody snatches my house, then I will go. Even God recognizes that idol is an entity which can own anything. Because Pranapatishtha means he is there. Only thing is, we have to get up from slumber. We are in slumber. We think Rama is somebody's God. So why should I bother? Why should I raise my voice? Why should I really support this view? Somebody? Unless we know that he is Brahman, our inner self. If it is your brother-in-law, if it is your sister-in-law, will you keep quiet like that? It is our own inner self. Where in which culture there are so many avatars? Which culture there are so many scriptures which can lift us up to the highest level? We don't understand our Guru at all. All that we need to know is our Guru conscious that Ramanama is so powerful. Is it not making a temple? He is making a temple of that powerful Rama, Brahma's presence, Parabrahma's presence, where every mind remembers, recognizes. Do you think it is a mere ordinary construction? It is not. It is that pure consciousness itself. The same Rama is there in others also, in their God also. It is same Tattva. Has pure consciousness, same consciousness in everything. Outer constructions are different. Inner essence is same. And essence is not revealed as clearly as it is revealed here. Never, never. And it has been clearly established even by the Western people who have done research in the heightened levels of consciousness in human history ever since the earth has been created, and they have openly admitted that it is only in India that the human levels have touched the divine levels of consciousness. If it has ever touched for the first time in this creation, it is only in India. It is only the Rishis have brought this down to the earth. We don't have that pride in our culture, pride in our God. We make God also another. Yeah, that's what is happening. If we see at the numbers and figures, how many thousands of temples are neglected in spite of squeezing all great temples out of their money and filling the government kitty and directing it to some personal shavers. Just think of it. So, all that we need to know is we have to become conscious of these things. Swami Chinmayananda was always in the forefront in such things. First he was there. First, not last. You all go and see. First he was leading. Whether it's statement, whether it's proclamation, whether it's declaration, whether it's announcement, daring. Why? Because he realized himself, he knows that self is harmless. So that is all. That Rama Tattva is there in us. That Rama is Brahma. That Rama is all bliss. That Rama is pure consciousness. So may we constantly remember one name, that is enough. Rama, 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 Rama. We will be taken care. We will be protected and we will be made to attain the highest level. Viramaha. Ramaha, now Viramaha. Viramaha, avasanam, praninam asminniti viramaha. All beings have him as the goal. So he is the goal. The ultimate goal. Viramaha means the goal. The liberated find the final peace in him. Final peace there in him only. Normally, people also when they are tensed up, either they will go to some stress busters to bust their stress, tension relievers, or some spiritual people, or some other kinds of things. And some people want to get out of the body and they do some other unintelligent actions. But finally, ultimate peace will happen to those people who reach him. And that is the goal there. There will be no peacelessness anymore. So he is the abode of perfect rest. Perfect rest there only. That is the only place where people can get perfect rest. In Kurukshetra war also, there were many people who knew that they were going to die. They knew that Dharma alone will win. They knew even though they are stronger, even though they are mighty, even though they can beat the opposition out, still they cannot win because they don't have Dharma on their side. That is the only point. They don't have Dharma. So they knew, and if we go to this Mahabharata, then we will come to see all the people who are on the verge of losing, they will now talk all big things. What is there in this? Anyway, I will go to Swarga, I will leave the body, I will attain higher world. Till then, they were only holding everything. They were only holding everything, grabbing everything. But final moments are near. Now there is no more escape. They have to go. Then they will drop all higher level things. What? Higher world. Anyway, this body is not permanent. Anyway, I am going to live there in my other body and like that. So that becomes a place of rest for the people who are finding restlessness here. But what Bhagavan says, that loka also is limited. Whichever loka you go, until you reach the abode of God. So that is the final abode. That is the final abode of perfect rest. Next, Virataha, passionless. Virataha or Virajaha, both are passionless. Vigatam Ratamasya Vishaya Sevayam iti Virataha. He is detached from the enjoyment of the objects. Detached from objects is not said here. Detached from the enjoyment of objects. Sense organs. Even the loss of a kingdom, we have seen in the life of Sri Rama. Even the kingdom which was almost given, was taken away. It never brought any impact or effect or pulled him down in his levels of heightened glory in any manner. It never pulled him down. He was always the same. Because his supreme wealth was not depleted, because his supreme wealth is knowledge, his supreme wealth is your consciousness. It was never depleted by taking away the kingdom, nor it got increased by adding kingdom. So for Rama, who is so supremely wealthy, whether kingdom is there or kingdom is not there, it doesn't matter. He is nirata, totally passionless. So if somebody says the kingdom is not there, oh, doesn't matter, why do you want it? Doesn't. When you don't want it, somebody takes it away, we feel happy, unburdened. Good that somebody took it away. Suppose, see, you have prepared all the dirt and dust and all that, thrown out, all the fit for throwing away things into one bag, trash bag, and you kept it at your door. Tomorrow you will take it out and place it near and some place where the municipal authorities will collect it. Somebody came and stole it. You will feel sad. Hurry! My trash bag gaya! I only have to put it. You will feel happy. Anyway, I didn't want it. Everybody rejected it. I also rejected it. Somebody takes it and take. But Rama kingdom is like that. The whole kingdom is like that. Because in 14 years of age only he went away. I don't want all this. And after some time they say, no, you should not take over. Thank you. Anyway, I didn't want it. Who only give it? Who wants it? If you give it to me, it is a burden. If you take it away, thank you, take it. And leave. Because you have a bigger mission to go and then to be in the forest and to be various other rishis and to give darshans to. They are all waiting. When will Rama come? When will Rama do? How will you go there if he is not sent out? So there is a bigger purpose there. So many people are doing tapas. All rishis are waiting. Rama is gone, he is not coming. Rama is gone. Well, they know Brahma, they know Sachidananda, they know their true nature. But they want to see how it will be if it is manifested. When they are event. So they are waiting. You have to go. They are waiting. Somewhere people stay thousands of miles away and then please come, we want to see you, they will come. Or they will say you only come, we want your service, you will go. And many rishis are there, so many devotees are there, they are all waiting there doing tapas since ages and ages and ages. So naturally Rama has to go there. So Rama has to go there. What a great thing. God wants to there. How it will happen? Naturally the kingdom has to be given it. He is acting. He is passionless. He doesn't want it. That is why Gurudev used to say, if you want to hold on to a particular thing, either God snatches it or time snatches it or changes snatch it away or somebody snatches it, you will feel sad. If you don't want it, you can take it away, you will feel happy. So, that is the best way that all objects can be attributed to God. So, God's objects, what He does with them must be God. Whether He keeps it with us, okay. If He takes it away, okay. Anyway, it is God's universe, God's kingdom, God is the ruler, and God is everywhere. He can place His objects wherever He likes. Today it is with us, tomorrow it can be with anybody. What does it matter? Anyway, it is God's. When it is God's, it is His mission. So that way also we can become passionless. Next, Marga, Vivek. He is the path knowing which the aspirants attain immortality. He is the path. He alone becomes the path. And through Him, everyone reaches the immortality. That is why in Type 3 Aranyaka it said, Nanya Pantha Vidyate Ayana. There is no other way to the above other than realizing Himself. That is the point. Nanya Pantha Vidyate Ayana. Meaning, there is no other way to the above. It has to be completed with another half of the sentence. What is that? There is no other way to the above other than realizing the self. Realize the self, that is the way to the above. That's all it is. All other things are not. Neha, the guide. Neha means the conducted or the guide. Margena, Samyajnanena, Jivaha, Paramatmataya, Niyata iti Neha. Very nice derivation by Sri. Because Jiva is conducted status of Paramatman through the right knowledge. That is why it is Neha. He is Neha. Jiva is guided to the state of Paramatman through the right knowledge. Who makes it possible? The one who makes it possible is Neha. That is God only. He will make Jiva reach him by giving him his knowledge. He is Neha. Then Naya, the leader. Niyata iti Naya, Neta. Leader, Neta. It is from Naya, to lead. Margo, Neyo, Nayati, Trirupa, Parikalpete. He is conceived in three ways. How? The path, the conductor, and the leader. The path, the guide, and the leader. He is the path, he is the guide, he is the leader. He will only take. Next, Anayaha. Nayaha, Anayaha. Not conducted by any. Meaning, na asya neta vidyata iti anaya. Nobody can lead up to him except himself. That is what it is. Nobody can lead up to him. Only him. Or naturally, he in other forms. His blessed forms. That's how no one leads to him. And one more thing, very nicely said by Swami Chinmayananda. He is everywhere at all times. So where does a guide is required? One who is everywhere at all times, you need a guide to reach him. He is everywhere at all times. So there is no need for anyone else to guide him. For Bhagavan also, he is everywhere at all times. Who else can lead him? So he is not led by anybody. He leads himself. That's all he leads himself. Iti Chaturudha Shataka Bhashyam. Thus ends the 400. Atha Panchama Shataka Bhashyam. Now begins the 5th 100. So name number 401. Viraha. Viraha, this name again appears in the 600s. 2 times. The variant. Vikramashilatva Viraha. How he creates the fear in the minds of demonic people, meaning in the minds of evil oriented people, evil minded people. He creates fear in them. He is so powerful that they get frightened of him. Similarly, when there is so much of negativity that is bothering us, we have to remember him, so he will frighten it away. He will create fear so that negativity will run away. That is one. And Shakti, next one. Shaktimatam Sreshta, the chief of the energy. Shaktimatam Sreshta. Among the people who have Shakti, he is the chief, Sreshta. The chief of the energetic, the chief of the powerful. He outshines Brahma in power and others also in power. Brahma is the one who created everything and gave every power to everybody and then is managing the show. And he brought it into existence. Actually. Then Vishnu in another form, Mahavishnu taking form of Vishnu and manages. But here, he outshines Brahma, he outshines everybody else because he is Mahanarayana or Mahavishnu or Brahma. So, in what all he outshines? In the power of knowledge, in the power of desire, in the power of action. Power of knowledge is Jnana, that is Jnana Shakti. Power of desire is Ichcha, Ichcha Shakti. Power of action is Kriya Shakti. Jnana Shakti, Ichcha Shakti, Kriya Shakti. He outshines everybody. So if we also want Jnana Shakti, Ichcha Shakti, Kriya Shakti by which we can lead a happy life, we need to surrender unto him and borrow something from him. So it is the expression of the inner self. Inner self expresses its powers in the intellect. How they are expressed? Jnana Shakti, Ichcha Shakti, Kriya Shakti. Because of that only we can get whatever we want to get, we can attain whatever we want to attain. Next name, Dharma. the support, Sarvabhutanam Dharanam Dharma. He is the Dharma because he supports all beings. That is why he is called as Dharma. And this Dharma, which is supporting all beings, according to Katha Upanishad, Anugresha Dharma. The Dharma is subtle, very subtle. And Dharmaihi Aradhyata Itiva Dharma. He is adored by all dharmas because he is Parama Dharma. Any dharma anywhere finally it is linked to him only. Anybody following any dharma, that Dharma Shastra finally leads that person to him only. That means what? Every dharma adores him only. And Swami Chittananda said the essential dharma in anything is that which supports it. So naturally that is a different dharma. So he is dharma. He is the dharma that supports all beings, all things and everything. Dharma viduttama, the best of the knowers of dharma. He alone is the best. He is dharma, he is the best of the knowers of dharma. Shrutayah, Shrutayascha, Yasya Ajna Bhuta Sa Eva Sarva Dharma Vidam Uttama Iti Dharma Viduttama. This dharma is declared in the Shrutis and the Smrutis, which are his express commands. In all the Shrutis and all the Smrutis, he is a dharma, his commands only which are expressed in the form of dharma are only declared in Shrutis. That is why anybody gaining Shruti and Shruti knowledge becomes knowledgeable. But what is declared in him? He alone. He is dharma alone. So he is the most knowledgeable person, the best of the knowers of dharma. Next one. Vaikuntha Purusha Pranaha. Vaikuntha Purusha Pranaha. Pranada Pranava Pruduhu. Pranada Pranava Pruduhu. Hiranyagarbha Shatrugno. Hiranyagarbha Shatrugno. Yapto Vayuradokshaya. Because of Mahatma Gandhi ji, what did we get on August 15th? He said, a holiday. He remembers that. Whatever he remembers. If he remembers why he got it, holiday, then he will become very patriotic towards Gandhi ji and all other leaders and towards nation. So the knowledge of the glorious thing, even though we are experiencing it, if you don't know, then we will not be able to feel it. God also, He is glorious, He is inside us, He is doing everything to us. If you don't know it, we can't feel it. We have to know it. Somebody was asking his friend, what is the height of stupidity? He said, according to me, I can tell. Okay, according to you, what you tell? Two friends riding on a motorcycle and fighting for window seat. Riding on a motorcycle, always open, fighting for a window seat. Height of stupidity. All our fighting also is like that. With anybody and everybody. Because we want to take something from others, or we feel that others are taking something away from us. Actually, God alone is there. Neither anybody takes it away nor anybody can give it to us. He alone can give, He alone can take it. Finally, when He is there, whatever is taken away is nothing material. Even He is there, whatever is added to us also given. When He is there, all full person, does it matter? Anything taken away, we will do what doesn't matter. We have to become conscious. That is why we have to become conscious of the Savior. Vaikuntha means the Savior. Vividha kuntha gatehe pratihatihi vikuntha vikunthayaha karteti vaikuntha. He is Vaikuntha. Why? How is called Vaikuntha? Because he saves people from straying into various paths, from misleading themselves into various paths. He saves them and puts them into one path. At the beginning of the creation, one more meaning. He united the elements which were distinct from one another. In the Sukshma Bhuta level, each element was independent of the other. Earth was 100% earth, water was 100% water, like that all other elements. But in the Panchikarana, their combination has happened. 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, and half. So, 4 1/8s and 1/2 became 1. So, every element has mixture of other elements. So, who made that? He only combined all other elements which were independent of each other and made them combined and made possible this whole creation. So that way also he is the savior. If they were allowed to remain like that, the whole creation would not have happened. And one of you might say, "Abba, I would have been very good," whatever it is. But he knows whether it will happen or not happen. And from his highest level, he says, even now, if nothing is happening, here or he is. Not that it is here or not, whatever it is. So that is why he is Vaikuntha. And it is said in Mahabharata, Maya samsleshita bhumihi adhyurvyoma cha vayuna vayuscha tejasa sartham Vaikunthatvam tato mama. Bhagavan says, I united the earth with water, ether with air, and air with fire, hence my name is Vaikuntha. His name is Vaikuntha. Then Purushaha, the person, he is the Purusha. Sarvasmat Pura Sadana Sarva Papasya Sadanatva Purushaha. Why he is called Purushaha? Because he as the first Purva, as the first of all of them, he is the first of all of us. He as the first of all of them burned Aushada, means burned. Aushad means burned, Aushad. By fire, all sins. Purva Aushad, meaning he who was the first Purusha of all, burned fire all sins. Therefore, it is called Purusha. All sins. Meaning what? If you grow up him as Purusha, Parama Purusha, Vaikuntha Purusha, naturally he will burn all our sins. And it is also said, because he lives Sayana in the body Puri, so Puri Sayana Dva Purusha. Because he lives in the body, he is Purusha. He alone lives as an individual. Then, Sa Ayam Purusha, Sarvasu Purushu Purishaya, Brother Purusha. He is indeed called Purusha who lives in all the bodies. In all the bodies, he alone lives. That is why he is called as Purusha. He alone is the Purusha. One friend was asking the other, in a race, if you overtake, in a race, running race, if you overtake the person in second position, what position you will get? The friend thought. Said first position. He said no. You overtook the second position fellow, you will get second position. It looks like first, but it is not. And he asked another question. Suppose if you overtake the last person in the race, what position will you get? Last. He said last but one. And that man said, how can you overtake the last person? Last person cannot be overtaken. So, it can mislead us. Like that the world misleads into competitions and conflicts. He alone, with his true knowledge, he can take us out of all this and he can lead us properly and perfectly, correctly. One wife, one day morning, saw her husband totally lost in himself, thinking something, feeling sad, scratching his head, stroking his head, and punching his hand, all that. Early morning. She tried to ask what happened. No, nothing. You can't let it. Then again she felt, what is happening to him? He is not sharing, he is not telling. At the time of breakfast also, he was eating, but somewhere, eating somewhere. How is it? And what did you ask? No, is the food tasty? Okay. So he is totally. And then he went out on official work. Came back in the afternoon only. Could not complete the work. And feeling lost, sad, thinking something. And he tried to sleep in the afternoon but could not sleep. Then in the evening also, regularly used to go for a walk. Today he did not go. And afterwards he is thinking to himself, closing his eyes, nodding his head, and doing all that. By the time the wife started thinking, he is involved with some other lady, and he is thinking of her, and trying to give me, and trying to go. That's why he is plotting and planning. I think no more in his heart, and all that. That's why I am asking about this, not telling. And she started feeling bad, sad, and lost. And then in the evening also, and then he did not bother to be with her, and he sat in the sofa, and then he just lied down like that. And once in a while getting up, walking here and there, and feeling like this. And she called her father and said, Father, you will expect me soon. So what happened? Oh, I think it was happened. He is not talking, he is not interacting, he is lost in something, he is thinking of somebody, I think he has some affair, he Father said, your mother also used to tell me like that. Better talk to your mother. Then she spoke to her mother. Oh, Dad, don't take it serious. Wait, things will settle down. What? Wait? I think he will go away. Wait, these things are normal. Wait. Experience with mother's counseling will only be like that. Inexperience, come on, run away. Before he leaves, leave and run away. No values. Whatever it is. And afterwards, she started searching everywhere to try to find out any photo of his girlfriend, any love letter of his lady friend, and they were all searching. Then finally she came across the diary. In that diary he wrote, today India lost the cricket match. That is why he was so involved in what he do. So, but just by seeing the external behavioral pattern, if we go on projecting whatever we have, what will happen? We will mislead ourselves. We will have problems. That is why we need Bhagavan to really save us from all these things. That is why he is Vaikuntha, he is the Savior, he is Purusha, and he will definitely see to it that we are oriented towards the Purusha who is inside us, the inner Purusha. Next, Prana. Prana means the life. Life also refers to Kshetrajna who is inside us as the knower of the field. And or to him who functions in our body as Pranas. All Prana, other time also we have seen this name Prana has been repeated. So we have already seen he only takes care of all movements inside of all digestion, assimilation, circulation, everything. So he alone becomes Prana and he takes care. Next, Prana, the giver of Prana or withdrawer of Prana. The means to give also, the means to break also. So, the giver of Prana or the withdrawer of Prana. He gives life to all beings or withdraws the Prana of all beings and Pralaya. Both. Next, Pranavaha. Pranavaha, here a very unique meaning is given. Praise or salutation. Praise or salutation is Pranavaha. Pranavati iti Pranavaha. Pranavati iti Pranavaha. He who is praised. Pranavati iti Pranavaha. He who is praised. Tasmad Om iti Pranayati. Pranayati. Pranamyate iti va Pranavaha. Meaning what? Therefore the worshipper praises him by Om. Praise is called as Pranavaha, salutation is called as Pranavaha. Worshipper praises him by Om, that's why Om is called as Pranavaha. Or he who is saluted. Pranavaha means he who is saluted. And Sanakumara says a beautiful thing. Pranamantiha yam Vedaha tasmat pranava uchate. As Vedas pay obeisance to him, he is named Pranava. Vedas also respect him and praise him and salute him, so he is Pranava. Because he is being worshipped and adored, he is Pranava. So may we all worship him, adore him as Pranava. There are few more in this sloka, we will see. Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ram Oh.